let's talk about these, a couple of these clips from the House Oversight Committee hearing on abortion. We know the Republican Party has already, or at least one of its top leaders, has announced that they plan on a federal abortion ban if they get the opportunity to do so. Here is the House Oversight Committee, just to give a sense and of the implications of the supposed exceptions that exist with abortion bans, to the extent that some of those exceptions exist. The idea of, in the event of rape, which of course, the idea that you'd have an exception to an abortion, it can take weeks, months before you prove something like this into the health of the mother. Very difficult to establish that. That's what this clip is about. Here is Texas resident Elizabeth Weller. She spoke yesterday in front of the House Oversight Committee. This is really disturbing.
At 19 weeks, my water unexpectedly broke. After we arrived at the ER, it was made clear to us that our daughter, Theodora, would not survive this pregnancy. We were given a choice, though: induce labor and terminate this wanted pregnancy, or return home and wait for infection to worsen. However, when we had made the choice that we felt was best for our family, our terrible experience was exacerbated. Fearing a legal backlash from the state of Texas, our hospital refused to allow our doctor to perform the medically necessary abortion and instead discharged me, instructing us to return when my infection worsened. In the following days, we constantly checked for signs of aggravated infection while we mourned the loss of our daughter. During this time, I experienced a consistent flow of amniotic fluid draining from my body. This was a constant reminder of my baby's impending death. Although my life and ability to have any future children was put in danger, my life was not in enough immediate danger for the state of Texas to allow for our doctors to perform a medically necessary procedure.
I mean, there it is, right? And they're doing this with cancer patients who are pregnant. You need to terminate the pregnancy to give the proper cancer treatment. They're basically saying we need the cancer to become worse before we treat you. And this is not, look, regardless of whether there was a way in which to actually implement these so-called exceptions, these abortion bans are horrific and diminish the rights of people. But the exceptions are just a joke. They're just a joke. Yeah. They're just a fig leaf, and they're just as endangering as anything else.
No, it's horrific. I mean, it's going through it, actually being almost 9 months pregnant now, having a lot of friends of mine who want to have children, who are trying to have children, who are miscarrying. They're living in, thankfully, states where you can still get a D&E, get a D&C, have your, be treated like a human being. Then like the state of Texas, which already in terms of healthcare is like on the floor, it's like the worst in the entire country in terms of like the most uninsured people live in Texas. It's horrifying. I'm so glad that I do not have to give birth in a red state, but also this sort of talk, it belies the whole point around family values. These are people that want to be parents. You don't give a flying fuck about these women. You don't care. You don't care if they can never carry children in their lives again because of that miscarriage that was not addressed. You absolutely, and you sure as hell don't care about taking care of parents, obviously, when they become parents, right? They're trying, Marco Rubio's trying, like, you will borrow, you can borrow money and then we'll pay you back. Da, 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 da. They're trying to get exceptions around Medicaid, because remember, a lot of them have not expanded Medicaid in their states, in these red states. But the last thing I'm going to say is like, this is why we have to think about like reproductive health broadly, very, very broadly and inclusively. Something that Liz Winstead and other reproductive health advocates and abortion advocates say is we need to support all pregnancy outcomes. So that is your right to have a child, raise it in dignity, or your right to terminate because you do not want to be a parent. I said it was the last thing, but I did reporting in El Salvador in 2016. took my mind off the election. I was like, this is great. It was 2015. Go to El Salvador. There are women in prison for 30 years, longer than the sentences that their rapists receive for raping them. They're serving for murder of an unborn fetus because they miscarried. Women I spoke to miscarried, or they're alleged to have an abortion. You know who's making the decisions? Judges who have no clue.
Well,
no clue what they're doing.
When you talk, I mean, you said that how in Texas or in red states, they don't care about a woman's health and if she's unable to get this procedure, how it could affect her fertility long term, right? And same with that example. There's a part of this religious fundamentalism that thinks if you miscarry, you deserve it, right?
Yeah.
There's something natural that God made this decision, or you did not abide by God's wishes. You sinned. Maybe you had some wine. Maybe you were taking drugs, right? Or maybe you were just unholy in general. And so if the woman is an imperfect earthen vessel for said child, then that's on her. And you should be in prison for the crime of not being the perfect carrier for this life force.
Yeah, it's, I mean, I don't know what else to say. I think that says it all. I don't know. Should we play this other clip of Clay Higgins or no?
Sure. I mean,
this is this is a Republican from Louisiana talking about his personal experiences with abortion, which are, of course, third hand.
My wife had a friend who had an abortion that I didn't know for years what they discussed. That was a private matter between my wife and her friend, but
not anymore.
After many, many years, my wife shared with me that her friend had had an abortion long before, and she was haunted by that. She would have nightmares of little hands, tiny little hands, and I was familiar with those tiny little hands because my own daughters would wrap around my finger just barely.
When she was born.
Is this about Trump?
This is a painful, deeply personal discussion
that I've just told everybody about.
Yeah, I'm sure his wife's friend appreciates that.
He's one of like in a body of psychos. He's one of the craziest members of Congress by a lot.
I mean, let's stipulate for the sake of this discussion that he's telling the truth, but in reality, I don't think he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
No. Pretty sure he is making that up.
I could imagine someone saying something like that if they were in a social circle that was a bunch of like right-wing legislators and their families. Maybe you would, if an abortion came up, you would couch it that way or something like that, or you could just make it up whole cloth.
It's also literally a plot point in Juno, I'm pretty sure, which is the movie about teen pregnancy, when she decides not to get an abortion when she finds out her baby already has fingernails, which for a movie that's supposed to kind of like be a more progressive like tilt, there was a bit of a weird messaging there, but it sounds like something that comes out of a movie. Right, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, like she had dreams about the baby crawling on the ceiling and then its neck turned all the way around. Sir, that's train spotting. But
oh my God,
it's just. It make me so mad. Why do men legislate on women's bodies and people can get pregnant bodies? And honestly, like the difference, I still don't feel like this is real. Like I'm almost about to give birth and I'm like, my cat, more of a baby than this thing. But the difference truly is, do you want it? Is it a wanted pregnancy or not? You know, and so that Juno fingernails thing, that's crap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's, do you want this? And can you get access to terminate it safely?
We know an enormous percentage of women, maybe even close to the majority of women who get a pregnancy, have children already.
Our moms.
This is not that they're sort of like have no idea what the implications or the value of children are or how cute they are when they wrap their fingers. they know that they cannot provide the life they want for their children or the life they want for themselves if they carry this pregnancy to term. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to. And so this idea that, like, you know, she was haunted. Maybe this person was haunted. Maybe they never had a child after that. Maybe they did. But the people will be kids will be haunted if their mother dies because they are carrying a pregnancy beyond where it's safe for them. Kids are haunted by all sorts of things, and parents too, about the stresses and the
blowouts
of raising a family. And I mean, give me a break. It's
blowouts or diaper. It's when the poo goes up the back of the. That's haunting, is what I'm just saying. It goes up the back of the baby. I'm very much looking forward to it. I just want to say.
Wait do you see what comes out first from the baby for like the first 2 or 3 weeks?
Oh,
it's
yes.
Not poop. It's something else.
Something it's like macadamia.
I can't.
It's Maconia. I know what it is. Yeah. It's black. But I did want to say, I think it's amazing that, you know, this is also a moment where the right is freaking out about big tech. Oh, big tech censoring. Meanwhile, Shapiro gets #1, you know, on Facebook views every single goddamn week. You can't put abortion in a YouTube title and have it monetized. Like, that might have changed in the last couple months, but tech and corporations are still on the wrong side of this. You can't openly say this. The algorithm will absolutely suppress it if you openly talk about abortion. So I hear the folks who are like, let's just say it, let's talk about it, put it in the titles. Who cares? I mean, you are effectively limiting our ability to free speech about it.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily look at it in terms of free speech. If the whole show gets demonetized because we're talking about abortion, you know, so be it. Their algorithms are problematic because of the stuff that they feed and don't feed, without a doubt. They're not going to promote videos that aren't going to make them money. They're demonetizing it for themselves as well.
I don't know. I've had pre-roll ads on some of my videos, which you know, are like they're just pro-life videos. They're just like a little fetus being like, "This is Clarissa, bleep bloop blap," you know, and she's like, "She survived an abortion" or whatever. And it's like a dude who's like 35. He's like, "Oh, I'm an abortion survivor." I mean, they're running those kinds of ads. So anyway, I think it's a little more insidious.